the book we're launching tonight, and thank you very, very much, all of you, for coming along to help us launch it. It's great to see you. We're in for a double treat tonight because we're actually launching two things called The Killing Woods tonight. We're launching my novel, The Killing Woods, but we're also very lucky to be launching on its very same release date the first EP of the band who is sitting behind me, Quiet Marauder, their EP, The Killing Woods. Thank you for doing such good I will explain in just a little bit why we both have The Killing Woods as the name of our creative projects. They didn't plagiarise and copy me exactly. We'll talk about that in just a second. But first of all, I wanted to just tell you who they are. Behind we have Simon, we have Ian, and we have Rowan. And this is about half?
Yeah.
About half of Quiet Marauder. And if anyone is coming to the Newport launch, we're doing a big Newport whiz-bang launch on Saturday. We're going to be lucky enough to be joined by the whole band. And there's hundreds of them. And they're quite terrifying in performance once they get going. So, but today it's all nice and peaceful.
It's sort of a little scary to be scared.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about why they're here and why they have the same name EP as my book in just a moment. But I thought I'd just give you just a little bit of history about the book, The Killing Woods, since it is the launch of the book as well. But though many of you know already, this book has taken me a very long time to write. This has taken me over 3 years to write this book. And it began all the way back at the end of 2009, when I went on a trip with my good friend Kat, who is here in the audience as well. Thank you, Kat. We went off to thick, remote, dense Nigerian rainforest, and I had the idea that I would write a thriller, one that was about kids in a documentary-style TV program where things go horribly, dreadfully wrong. I went to Nigeria, Kat and I went, we did some crazy things. We walked up a dormant volcano. We were told afterwards we were the first white women ever, possibly the first women ever, to walk up that volcano. We trekked down through elephant pathways. We got bitten to smithereens. It was a tough time. I still have the scars. And then I came back to the UK. I came back to Wales, where I live, and I got stuck. I couldn't write the book. And I wandered and wandered and wandered around the woods near the back of my house. I live in Monmouth, so there's lots of woods near there, Forest of Deans near there. And I got really stuck. I thought two things made me very scared to write the book I thought I was going to write. The first thing was I felt that I couldn't write about the Nigerian rainforest with any real validity. If you've read Stolen or Fly Away, my other two books, you will know that setting is quite important to me. In fact, setting is where I start from as a writer. Setting comes first, and then the story and the plot and everything else comes from there. And I didn't feel like I had a good enough handle on the Nigerian forest to write about it with enough honesty. And I didn't feel it was my story to tell. And that really freaked me out. I wandered and wandered around these woods thinking, how am I going to do this? The other thing, I read The Hunger Games and freaked out again because I thought my plot was a little bit similar. In hindsight, it probably wasn't. But at the time when I was freaking out, I thought, two things, what can I do? And I started walking, thinking a lot, and seasons moved into seasons, and my poor old publisher, Chicken House, panicked a little bit. And I didn't have a book, and I still freaked out a little bit. And I thought, well, why can't I write about the woods that I'm walking in right now? Why can't I write about the woods that are near my house, the woods that are Forest of Dean, the woods where I ride my horse, that I walk in. I know these woods, I write about them. So that made me feel a little more positive. And then I still thought I wanted to write about darkness. The first idea of this novel had a thread of darkness going through it, mostly to do with the reality TV show game that was going on. I still wanted to have a thread of darkness. Something about being in dense and closed woods kept me thinking about that. And I thought, well, maybe I can instead think about the darkness that exists within everybody, the dark cracks that run through people, that run through humanity, that run through life, that run through games, that even run through woods, perhaps. And I started thinking about that. So I started thinking a little bit more about what would it be like if your father or your mother had done something so terrible as those dark cracks were all the way through you. And so that got me thinking. And so this book really is about darkness in its theme. It's really about characters starting to uncover and acknowledge the dark cracks running through themselves and through life. But it's also about them acknowledging the cracks of light that are running through as well. It's about seeing people as a whole, not just surface view of someone, the underlying currents as well. As you can probably tell, I was reading a lot of Jung at the time as well, the shadow self. So that's where the theme sort of came from. The catalyst for this book, as you will have heard from that, I read you the whole first chapter just then, so sorry it was rather long. I thought it seemed right to read the whole first chapter. I'm not going to read you any more, so you got it all in one big swoop. So that, as you saw from that first chapter, the catalyst for the book is Emily, our main character's dad, coming out of the woods carrying the body of Ashley Parker, who has died. And it's the night of exam results, and the story is told between two perspectives, from Emily, who we heard just then, and from Damon. Now Emily's narrative then her dad then after that chapter gets arrested that night and taken off into a prison cell and gets questioned for the murder of Ashley Parker. The second chapter starts with Damon, and Damon is Ashley Parker's boyfriend. And he wakes up the morning after the night before, when they've all been out celebrating their exam results. He's very bleary-eyed, very, very hungover, and he's trying to remember what exactly happened the night before. He can't remember very much, but he remembers he was in the woods, he was there with his mates, he was there with his girlfriend. He remembers that his girlfriend brought some weird drug called fairy dust for them all to try. He remembers that they were all playing a game in the woods that night. What he doesn't remember is walking his girlfriend back to her trapped home, and he doesn't remember saying goodbye to her at all that night. And as his narrative starts to develop, he starts to fear that maybe he was a little bit more involved in what happened that night than he first thought. The characters discovering what they could and couldn't think of everything. Now I think I should explain why we all have the title of Killing Woods. Many magical things happened writing this book. But one of the biggest magical things that happened was the involvement of this band behind me. For those of you who know, you probably know, some of you know already that I write to music, and I always put a soundtrack together of songs. And so Stolen, I have a whole massive soundtrack of certain songs, mostly Ryan Adams and Iron and Wine and those sorts of things that go into Stolen, and they help me to write scenes. Fly Away To, lots of uplifting, birdie type numbers go into that one. Killing Woods. I couldn't find any songs at all. I was really stumped. I tried Talking Heads, Psycho Killer, not so good. I listened to Teddy Bear's Picnic over and over on repeat, and I couldn't find anything. And I was desperate because I used the music to get into the right headspace to write. And I rang up Simon, my good friend, and said, Simon, I need some music. What can I write to? And he recommended a few things, and they were moderately helpful. Not essentially brilliantly helpful, I have to say, but nothing was. And in sheer desperation, I said, Simon, come on, you're a musician, can't you just write me a song? I can tell you what I want in it, I can tell you the mood I want, I can tell you the kinds of characters that need to be in it, can't you just write me a song and then I can write from that? And he did. And I never let him read, or I don't think he ever wanted to actually read the chapters.
I read
bits and pieces. But I gave him a brief, and so the first thing I said, please, I need a song that's got a bit of a dark, sinister feeling to it. I need a song that is about two, boy and a girl in the woods at night. Maybe they're together, maybe they're not, and there's a moon shining down, and maybe something's about to happen. That's all I gave him. And he wrote this extraordinary song called It Wasn't Me, It Was the Moon. And the song is actually, the lyrics are quite different in a way to the things that happen in the book, but the mood is spot on. The mood, the atmosphere is absolutely right to the mood that I needed to write the book. I got the song, I said, oh God, this is brilliant, and then suddenly I could write again. And I think we will let Quiet Marauder play their song, It Wasn't Me, It Was the Moon.
what they deserve. Keep looking back to me to check if I'm leaving soon, and we'll walk beneath the silver light. But if anything happens on the way, I should display. If my hand brushes nuts, if I look into your eyes, if I slide my arm around, if I suggest fear me. After all, I'm just a man, and I would say anything to examine those pots and pans. Now we got a motive cause, many opportunities. Why you been so goddamn friendly to me? I'm talking in code. What you say it is, I am yours. But if anything happens on the way, I should disclaim.